Batman the Animated Series Chase review coming right up. Mr. Clicks Flicks is brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama, home of the ROC. No matter if in the United States or around the world, Lucky Dice Cafe has the winning role for your gaming needs. You can visit them at luckydicecafé.com or on their Facebook page using the link found in the description of this video. Alright guys, so we are today doing a review of the chase figures for the Batman the Animated Series set. These chases are all good just by the fact that you can add them to your sideline for free if you have room on your sideline. So no matter who you pull, it might be worth keeping. So much so that that's why none of them made it into my top 10 video for this set, because it would have just been listing the chase figures. So if you want to see my top 10 list for Batman the Animated Series, make sure to click the YouTube card now. And if you want to see how I rated each figure in this set, check out this YouTube card also. So let's go ahead and get this flipped over, and we're going to talk about each individual chase figure, and then you know, what they might be good for calling in. Alright, so here we are at hcrealms.com. We are here in the Batman the Animated Series part on their unit section, and Batman number 63 is the first chase figure. Now, most of these chase figures, you're not going to main force them, but we will cover their stats briefly for their higher point value, and we're going to cover their traits. So, Batman for 60 points has the Batman Ally keyword, or team ability, 4 range single target, 8 movement with running shot, 11 attack with special, 18 defense with combat reflexes, 3 damage with outwit. He has 2 traits and a special. The first trait is the Trouble Alert trait, which all these chases have, so I'm just going to cover it this one time with Batman. This one's called Trouble Alert, come in Batman. Sideline active, friendly characters have free if this character critical missed this turn or made a third attack this turn to miss all opposing characters. Place a character from your sideline that can use the Trouble Alert trait adjacent on its blue starting line. At the beginning of your turn, if Batman started the game due to the Trouble Alert trait, roll a d6, 4 through 6, deal Batman 1 unavoidable damage. So you're able to bring them in for free. They can be on your sideline for free, and you start them off on their lower point line. We'll cover what his lower point line looks like here in a minute. His other trait is stopping to lecture about science, my occasional weakness. Characters that can use perplex attack, that can use perplex modify attack +2 when attacking only Batman. Characters that can use perplex modify defense +2 when Batman attacks them. All these chases have a similar weakness, which is why you probably wouldn't main force them, but if you can bring them in for free, that's something. The special on his attack is my utility belt has everything, but smoke is usually best. Smoke cloud when Batman uses it. If he doesn't already have one, give him a worse idea token. Free, remove a worse idea token and choose a standard attack power. Batman can use the chosen power until your next turn. So pseudo pick power, generally not bad. Actually not a terrible figure for 60 points if you ignore the occasional weakness trait. But like I said, all these chases, you're going to be running them on your sideline for the Trouble Alert trait. So what does he come in for Trouble Alert? He starts off with a 7 movement with sidestep, 10 attack with that special, 17 defense with combat reflexes, 2 damage with outwit. So you're basically bringing in somebody with an outwit, 10 attack, which isn't terrible, and then if he does take damage, he ends up on probability control, which is also super helpful. He brings in smoke cloud, which is okay. I would say there's generally to me, there's 3 tiers of these chases. There's a top tier, a second tier, and a bottom tier. I would put Batman in the second tier. There's a few things that I believe are better than him that we'll talk about here in a minute. But, I mean, 30-point outwit is good. That gives way to probability control. Next figure we're going to talk about here is Robin. For 30 points, you can main force him. He has Trouble Alert also. Then he has another trait called I've Been Captured Again. When Robin is KO'd, you may choose an opposing character of 30 points or more. If you do, for the rest of the game, when the chosen character is KO'd, generate a Batman the Animated Series number 64 Robin on its blue starting line in that character's square. So you are able to bring Robin back into the game, which is really cool. And then my occasional weakness, being captured, my occasional weakness, characters that can use plasticity, modify attack +2 when attacking only Robin, characters that can use plasticity, modify defense +2 when Robin attacks them. So something there. That's not the worst occasional weakness one that's out here. Starts off with nothing really too great. He has in-cap, shape change, but nothing here that's going to help you. This one really shines on its trouble alert click. So here he is on the trouble alert. So he brings you perplex, and he has the Batman ally team ability, so he's a stealth perplexer. And the nice thing is that if he does get KO'd, you can choose another opposing character and then possibly get him back. So I would say this Robin is actually tier 1 just because of that. You're able to get the free perplex, and he's able to just keep coming back, keep coming back. Next up here we have Aquaman. 50 points. You can main force him. He has a 9 movement with charge and the fish symbol, 10 attack with special, 17 defense with toughness, 3 damage with exploit weakness. He has trouble alert. He has having to do stuff on land, my occasional weakness. Characters that aren't occupying water terrain, modify attack +2 when attacking only Aquaman. Characters that aren't occupying water terrain, modify defense +2 when Aquaman attacks them. I'd say he probably has him, and then one other figure probably have the worst occasional weaknesses. He's definitely up there. Then he has another trait. I'll use my undersea telepathy. Power, generate 3 average fish bystanders. And then the special on his attack is Aquaman, go deal with the watery crisis over there. Free, generate up to 6 water terrain markers in distinct squares within 4 squares, each adjacent to at least one other, and at least one marker must be adjacent to Aquaman. At the beginning of your turn, remove the water token markers. Free, generate an average fish bystander in a square with a water terrain marker placed by Aquaman. So you're able to place the water terrain markers, which is pretty cool, for free. I could see somebody making a play for him with King Shark, a la Casey Aquaman. But let's see what the average fish do. And they just have Force Blast. There's nothing special here. 2 movement. You know, you get 3 of them, so for repositioning, but they're tiny size, so not really too much there. And here we are for the trouble alert. Again, we're generating the free water and the average fish. This guy is definitely, I would say, in that bottom tier class of these chase figures. Next up here we have the Big Blue Boy Scout, Superman. He's 100 points. He is the most expensive of the chases to main force. Has Superman ally team ability, 6 range single target, 10 attack with charge, 11 attack with super strength. I'm sorry, 10 movement with charge, 11 attack with super strength, 18 defense, invulnerability, 4 damage with special. He has trouble alert. He has another trait called Force Fields, my occasional weakness. Characters that can use energy shield deflection, modify attack +2 when attacking Superman. Characters that can use energy shield deflection, modify defense +2 when Superman attacks them. So if you're trying to attack them at range, they get a +4, which would be +3 because rule of 3. So that's not really a great one there, but right now, not a terrible amount of figures have energy shield deflection, so it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. And then his special and his damage, spinning them around super fast usually works. Free, choose an opposing character with 3 squares that has no action, that has no other character within 1 square of it. Destroy all pieces of blocking terrain adjacent to that character and roll a d6. 4 through 6 give that character an action token. So you're able to basically free assign some action tokens, which is cool. Not the best Superman I've ever seen, but not terrible. But I wouldn't main force him. So here we are for the trouble alert one, which is 40 points. You get all the same stuff, and you still have the able to assign action tokens for free. Charge, super strength, closes out his dial with hypersonic speed and precision strike and leadership. So his stats aren't too great, especially on that last click, but they're also not bad. So this guy, I would put him in that 2nd tier. Here we are with Wonder Woman. She is 70 points, has a 10 movement with a special, 11 attack with a special, 18 defense with invulnerability, 3 damage with shape change. She has Trouble Alert trait. She has another trait called Tied Up by My Own Magic Lasso, my occasional weakness. Characters that can use telekinesis modify attack +2 when targeting Wonder Woman. Characters that can use telekinesis modify defense +2 when Wonder Woman attacks them. This one's not too bad. There's not a bunch of figures that just have TK floating around right now, especially in competitive, so that shouldn't run into that too much. She has the special on her movement, which is called Give the Super Friends a Ride in the Invisible's Jet, even Aquaman, Hypersonic Speed, Wing Symbol, Passenger 2. Wonder Woman may carry one same-size character with Dolphin Symbol in addition to any other carried characters. So you're possibly able to carry 3 characters, which is nice. Hypersonic Speed's always great. Passenger 2 is even better. So for 70 points, she's actually pretty decent. She brings some things to the table. Justice League keyword, she might be a nice transporter for them. Then she has Lasso of Truth to capture them all at once, which is her special on her attack. Free, choose an opposing character within 5 squares in line of fire that has a character adjacent to it. Roll a d6 for that character and each character adjacent to it. 4 through 6. Give the character you rolled for an action token. So able to assign 1 action token, which is pretty cool. So each character, you can assign multiple action tokens, which is really awesome. I would put her at the top of the 2nd tier, or just barely creeping in to the 1st tier of the chases for this set. Here she is for her Trouble Alert. She has that special on her attack, which is the assign the action tokens, which I would say is pretty good. She has leadership, which is pretty good. Again, 2nd tier, top of it, or bottom of the 1st tier. Here we are with the Flash. He's 60 points, has a 12 movement with a special, 11 attack with precision strike, 18 defense with super senses, 3 damage with prob. Has the Trouble Alert trait, and then another trait which is waiting for unspeedy people, my occasional weakness. Characters that can use sidestep modify attack +2 when attacking only Flash. Characters that can use sidestep modify defense +2 when Flash attacks them. That's something you're probably going to end up dealing with a couple times. Then his special on his movement is Sometimes I Can Fly, Wing Symbol, Passenger 0, Hypersonic Speed. So that's pretty cool. Wing Symbol gives him a lot of terrain he can ignore. So that's pretty cool there. And then the special on his attack is Excite, High Speed Molecular Action, Telekinesis, Pulse Wave with a range of 4. So that's pretty cool. TK is helpful. Pulse Wave is always good. Trouble Alert dial. So 11 movement with the Hypersonic Speed, 10 attack, Precision Strike, 2 damage with prob. He's coming in with prob. So I would say he's probably on that 2nd tier again, just because he doesn't have much to offer you on the 2nd click. He has TK, so that elevates him. He's on the upper half of that 2nd tier, but not quite good enough to be 1st tier, but still very good. So here we are with Green Lantern. To main force him is 70 points. He has a 10 movement with phasing teleport, 10 attack with telekinesis, 18 defense with toughness, 3 damage with a special, 6 range single target. Has the Trouble Alert trait, and then an occasional weakness trait, which is characters displaying a yellow power on their combat dial. Modify attack +2 when attacking only Green Lantern. Characters displaying a yellow power on their combat dial. Modify defense +2 when Green Lantern attacks them. So pretty cool. That's nice and themey. There are a lot of yellow powers showing up right now, so you're probably going to have to deal with that. I would say he has a not great occasional weakness. You're going to run into that one a lot. And then he has another trait, Cairo, my Vesuvian sidekick. Power once per game. Generate a Cairo bystander for the rest of the game. Green Lantern may carry that character in addition to any other carried character, so that's pretty good there. Let's see what Cairo is. He has a 14 defense with defend and a 0 damage with support. So we're bringing in a supporter with him. And here we are with the Trouble Alert 30-point dial. So we're bringing him in. He has sidestep, TK, barrier, and enhancement. Plus we can power action to use that Cairo, and then he gives way to Running Shot, Pulse Wave, even though it's a 9 attack. I think this is definitely one of the top tier figures in this set. You get a bystander you can power action to use support. He has TK to get your main figure out of trouble. He's got a couple support powers, and then, Running Shot, Pulse Wave for something that you essentially didn't pay any points for, even if it's a 9 attack, is pretty good. Next up here we have Apache Chief. He's 50 points, starts off with a 7 movement with charge, 10 attack with quake, 18 defense with toughness, and 3 damage. He has Trouble Alert trait. He has his occasional weakness trait, which is characters with the tiny symbol modify their attack value +2 when targeting only Apache Chief. Characters with tiny symbol modify defense +2 when Apache Chief attacks them. Other than Mini Shredder, there's not too much of that going around right this second, so probably not going to be that big of a deal. Then he has Unuk Chuck, free if Apache Chief has a Starburst symbol, he gains the giant symbol. If he has a giant symbol, he gains Colossal symbol. If he has Colossal symbol, give him a Big Man token. For each Big Man token, increase the giant reach by +1 and modify attack +1. When Apache Chief attacks a character with a giant symbol or Colossal symbol, modify his damage +1 for each Big Man token. Apache Chief's size can't be changed by other effects. So pretty cool here. So essentially you can get like a you can end up getting like a 6 square swing out of him, and with his quake, which is pretty good. For 50 points, he's a cute character. I like him. And then for the Trouble Alert, call in at his 30-point line. You still have the same things. 10 attack for 3 damage and charge. It's respectable enough. He is firmly, I would say, in that second tier. He's not bad, but also not great. Here we are with the Atom. 50 points, has the Trouble Alert trait, has the occasional weakness. Characters with the giant or Colossal symbol modify attack +2 when attacking only the Atom, and they modify their defense +2 when the Atom attacks them. Definitely you're going to see some Colossals in this day and age. He has an 8 movement, which isn't bad, 11 attack with Pulse Wave, which is phenomenal, 17 defense with Energy Shield Deflection, and 2 damage with a special. And he also has a special on his defense. Special on his defense is gotta run, keep fighting, George. Super Senses, tiny symbol, so pretty cool there. And then his special on his damages on the Shoulder of Giants, leadership, outwit, probability control. Personally, I know a lot of people were really dogging on this figure. I think he's in that second tier class, especially if you're going to main force him. He's got, Pulse Wave, he's got leadership, he's got outwit, he's got prob. He's got scientist keyword, which is pretty good, politician, which isn't bad, Justice League, which isn't bad. I'm not going to try to run a team around him, but if I'm looking for a little extra something, like a secondary attacker plus some other things, I definitely consider using him. Here we are for his Trouble Alert trait, the 20-point line. And he loses all those support powers, basically just gains Battle Fury with super strength and charge, and he has super senses with the tiny symbol. For the Trouble Alert trait though, I think this is probably one of the worst ones, unless you're running into somebody that's getting a lot of shape change rolls, then you might need them. But other than that, this is probably the worst one one of the worst ones for Trouble Alert. Here we are with Firestorm. He's 60 points to main force, 7 range, dual target. Starts off with 10 movement with Running Shot, and 10 attack with Psychic Blast, 17 defense with Energy Shield Deflection, 3 damage with a special. Has the Trouble Alert trait, and his occasional weakness is characters that can use Outwit. So you're probably going to see some Outwit, not a ton of it, but you'll see some. So probably 1 figure per team you'll end up having to give up a +2 to their defense or a +2 to their attack. The special on his damage is Perplex. When Firestorm uses it, he can modify a value except damage +2 or -2. So that's pretty good there. I would say that's pretty decent. For 60 points, that is a decent figure to have there. You can have 12 attack for 3 damage, or a 10 attack for 5 damage out of a 60-point figure. That is not bad. And here we are for the Trouble Alert call-in, or you could run him here at 40 points. Has an 8 movement with sidestep, 10 attack with energy explosion, 3 damage with probability control. I would say he's right up there with Green Lantern for coming in on this Trouble Alert dial, because he starts off with prob. He's able to carry somebody out of danger, and then if he does take a damage, you get a +2, -2 perplexer with phasing teleport that's going to be able to basically auto break away. So I like him a lot. Next character we have here is Hawk Girl for 50 points. She has a 9 movement with charge and the flight ability, 11 attack with special, 17 defense with super senses, 2 damage with exploit weakness. She has Trouble Alert trait, and her occasional weakness trait is unless Hawk Girl is the first attack, unless Hawk Girl's attack is the first attack during your turn, modify defense +2 when she attacks them. Characters modify attack +2 when attacking Hawk Girl if it's the first attack of their turn. So that one's not too terrible. You just have to, realize when you're going to need her in a turn. And then the special on her attack is convince the birds of Earth to help me. Power, generate an average bird bystander. If no friendly characters are within 4 squares, generate 2 instead. So the average bird has a 9 movement with flurry, 9 attack, 15 defense, 1 damage with tiny symbol. These are a lot better than the average fishes. Still not great, but not bad. 9 attack, trying to get two hits in, not so bad. Here she is on her Trouble Alert click. An 11 attack with charge and an exploit weakness is not bad at all, and you can generate the average bird. So depending on what your action totals look like, you could charge in, attack with exploit weakness, free generate an average bird, and then flurry attack again to try to get them for 4 potentially, which isn't bad. I'd say she is firmly in that second tier, but again, really, she's really good. Here we are with Hawkman for 50 points. Has a 9 movement with sidestep and the flight ability, 11 attack with special, 17 defense with combat reflexes, 2 damage with close combat expert. He has Trouble Alert trait, and he has his occasional weakness, which is characters without the wing symbol modify attack +2 and defense +2. So I would say he has one of the worst Trouble Alerts also, because every force is going to have figures with a boot symbol. So there's going to be tons of characters getting the +2s to their attacks and defenses. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he looks like when you call him in. And there he is, basically the same as his 50-point line. It's not terrible, if you're able to call him in and sidestep in for an 11 attack for 4 damage, he's not terrible. Again, firmly in that second tier. I think he's good, but not great. But again, like I said, all of them are worth using, so whichever ones you pull, try to hang on to. Alright guys, so in the comments below, make sure to list your favorite chase figures from the set. I'd be really interested in hearing your guys' opinions about that. Like I said, there really aren't any bad ones. It's just some are better than others, but none of them are bad. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, give it a share. It really helps keep me motivated to make these videos. That's all I have for you today. As always, please remember there's only critical miss if you don't have probability control.